So, call the meeting
Dead call for
to
everything
order.
with
Do
this.
we have a quorum?
Yes.
I think we do.
Realtors.
Everybody signed in.
So
We'll
Roy was
stand
there?
for the roll call.
Roy was there? How's he doing? Did he
Roll
play?
call.
or-
Yeah.
Um,
You want to see more
The
things
sign
this
in,
week?
is that good enough for the roll call?
I think so. Is that good enough for this roll call? Okay. I got it right here.
So I'm sorry I missed the last couple of meetings, but a motion to approve the minutes of the September 18th
I
meeting.
so moved.
Second.
With a correction, I was at that meeting, my name's not on there.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public comments?
We don't have anybody signed up for that.
No.
Nobody signed up.
No one signed in? Okay. Communications is the bunker slide presentation.
Yeah, I've got something here. Unfortunately, Tom had to, we had a corporate function for our superintendents, which he would be at. So basically, we're gonna talk about what we've been working on, and with the winter coming up, upon us, that gives time for our staff, the maintenance staff, to work around little things. We've been experimenting with different ways to fix our bunker problem. We're gonna go by price. So obviously, that's one of the ones on 16 that they're gonna work on. After, remember, I think we all spoke, we got a new rake attachment, so it's helped. And that's gonna be the cheapest form. That was like $900, and it's an attachment that was added on, sorry, it was like $1,700 to our already bunker system, three-wheeler. But it just broke up the ground more and it made it a little bit better, which, have you noticed that for a while there, it was getting really, really bad. It's gotten just better, but because of the rate. But obviously, we wanted to make it better. So we've done it, we've experiencing with something called Z-line bunker on our whole 9. I don't know if you guys, any of you all were out there when they were installing it. It looks like a carpet. And they basically clean out the bunker, put the carpet on top, and it literally feels like a carpet. And then they throw new sand on top of it. And the only thing of it gets very expensive with a Z-line bunker system.
To maintain or to install?
To install. It's
How
very
long is
labor,
it? How much the line of that Z-line?
10 to 15 years. So it's almost, yeah.
But
So
how's
what-
it drain?
It drains really well. We're gonna really find out today because it's raining over there, so we're gonna keep an eye on it. But it's drained perfectly in the past, and we'll talk about drainage. It could be anywhere from 200, and Tom's gonna get us the exact pricing on it, to 200 grand to 300 grand. So it's very,
To do all the bunkers.
to do all of it.
What is the, the expensive part is one number, and then the maintenance part is another, and that's where you get your payback.
Correct.
So do you have an idea of that, the payback?
Well, that's what we're gonna talk about on the next one, where a lot of it was kind of the way it was done in the past. So with Tom being there, a lot of our hits were hitting the bunkers twice.
Okay.
So a lot of our greens were getting hit twice, because for some reason, our course is one of the few courses that has sprinkler head on the collar system and one for the greens. So I don't know if you remember, we were getting a lot of that black mold. So a lot of that was contributed to that. We were keeping them so moist, too moist, that they never had a chance to dry off. But because they were not only getting hit the way they were supposed to, but then the collared sprinkler was coming in and hitting both the green and the bunkers. So the bunkers were like if it was raining every day on them. So once they became contaminated, it just got
So
worse.
have you fixed that?
Yes, Tom has gone ahead, and we'll talk about this. This is exactly, so hole 17, this was about 1.5 years ago. And if you remember, and I have a diagram there on the next slide, we had about 19 inches of rain one September. These were done May prior to that September. They look the same today as they do when they first installed them. And this was just cleaning it out real good again, making sure that everything, the drains were working, which they were, and putting in new sand, which is a lot less cost effective. It's been 1.5 years with these guys. About 1.5 years already with these guys, and the maintenance is the same as you would have with the Z-line bunker system, just regular maintenance. But it looks like now that he's fixed all the sprinklers and how much time they get hit, I mean, you can go play them. And that's why I want to do it today, that way November when we meet again, hopefully you guys have already made it out there and you can start seeing for yourselves. These look just as good as the Z-line, and it's much more cost effective. It would be even cheaper, but the fact that we have to bring in the sand from San Antonio, because nobody does that sand here, is why it gets a little costlier. It's
So
mostly the ship.
you're saying it was 10 to 15 years life of the other one, Z life.
So
of
with this, give or take, probably 8 to 10 years as well. Tom kind of associated, said, hey, it's been 1.5 years. We had the most rain ever in a September, which was 19 inches, and they did great.
But to understand it, so what he did is just cleaned it out, clean the drains,
And-
put new sand, and fix the overwater.
Exactly.
So when we built the golf course, the reason they're having this issue now is that Robert Trent Jones and Landscapes Unlimited both recommended that liner, the Z liner or something like that, and it was $275,000 8 years ago.
Mhm.
So it's the same price.
Mhm.
It's the only thing, there hadn't been any inflation. And you're saying that that would only last 15 years?
I think they said that anywhere from 10 to 15 years. It's a new product. There's another one where they come in actually, it's called the Billy Bunker system. It's a little bit more expensive. It's kind of, you're already going like the 350 to 400. They spray it with some sort of, it turns into almost like asphalt, but it's porous only to the water. So you can pour anything else you want in on top of it, but only the liquid goes through. So that also helps, but again, it's a little bit more cost.
So do you have money to do this cheaper version?
And that's why we're here.
Yeah, I
We wanna
asked,
talk
at
to
the last meeting, I told JJ to bring us, there was, what was it called, Dennis?
I think it's a capital contribution.
For every round, there's a certain amount that goes into capital contribution. $2, I think.
Are they doing that? Are they supposed to have been
well,
doing that?
Day one, and so that's what we wanted to find out this meeting, to bring us a report, where, do those monies get allocated into a different account? Do they stay in there?
You ought to get Alejandro Labradas in the other room. He can tell us, they poached that money for something else for years.
Okay, and that's what we're about.
But Alejandro will know where that money went and what's going on with it. If you want to ask him, to come in.
Yeah, well, we'd say, yeah. I mean, because JJ was supposed to give us that report, and he's coming in a little bit later.
Yeah, but he didn't, he'll do it on the next meeting, he'll give us the report, because due to the weather, the water situation,
Yeah.
he
Oh,
wasn't
yeah.
be able to
Right.
work on it.
Well,
Yes, no, he'll give us the
I
report
don't-
on the next one.
When I say they poached it, I know there was a big controversy over what was happening with that money.
Mhm. It still exists. I mean, and my point, like I was telling Dennis, does it get placed? I mean, if it gets thrown back into the general fund, then we're pretty much out of it. But I think this committee can put it back together so that it can be allocated back into the golf course from this point on.
And this money has been accumulated since the inception, since the beginning?
Yeah.
I think it's required by the bond issue. By the city floated a bond issue for part of the money that we didn't contribute. And I think there was some requirement in that bond indenture that some money be set aside for maintenance and capital improvements out of Greenfield.
Right.
So,
I said, you know.
See,
And so as far as we know, none of it has been used for the golf course
Question about-
since?
I think there
Each round
was,
of
at
golf,
one point, they did use some
weren't
of
they
it for the
from
golf
the
course. I think there
beginning
was a
setting
truck
aside
purchase for
some
maintenance
money for a
department and
capital
stuff like that.
improvement fund?
So I know that, I wasn't there at that
What
time,
happened
at
to
that
that
time, but
money?
I
Right.
heard that was what it was used for, because Tom Horseman does have a company vehicle.
Because the idea, I think, here is we get to find out, and it's gonna take an audit to get it done, to figure out how many rounds we played.
But we have no idea what they're doing with it now.
Yeah.
We get to ask,
It's a
this
dollar
budget.
around.
Shouldn't that already be like push a button and it pops up?
Yeah,
Right.
you have
Should
separate,
be.
yes.
Well, we're asking the questions, at least.
Alex?
Yes, sir.
Stop.
Muy bien, Mr. Jacob, how are you?
You're on.
You
Floor is
remember,
yours.
They were saying, we were talking about trying to fix the sand traps, and is there money to fix the sand traps?
Uh-huh.
So, when they floated the bond issue to build the max, I think there was a requirement that $1 per round of golf had to go into a capital improvement fund.
Yes.
Isn't that right?
Something like that, yes.
Is it $1 or $1.50?
Something like that every round, it was supposed to be to the capital improvement.
So one of my secret sources says that.
Corrado.
Oh, no.
It says that part of that money went to buy a truck for the superintendent of the golf course.
Dennis, so you're doing that?
That was before my
It
time.
was before his time, so that they deviated from what was supposed to be money going back into the golf course,
Mhm.
and Carlos Villarreal decided to use that money, or Horacio,
Mhm.
to buy a vehicle. You don't remember?
That one, I don't know, to be honest with you, but I do remember there was supposed to be some kind of a fee for
It's
every
$1.
round. It's $1 for every round to do for the capital improvement, yes. That one I do remember.
So then you should total up from 2007, when did it open? 2007?
12?
2012,
Yeah.
okay. So it's 7 years, figure out how many rounds of golf, times $1, that would probably fix all the improvements you need on the sand traps. You think it goes into the general fund, or you think it's a separate?
Probably goes into the general fund, probably what they're collecting and what they're using to the.
A little like the, a little like the Congress, where do we get this extra money?
It's
Wow.
like, it's
Where do we
it's
get
like
the
the
money
social,
from, huh?
it's like social security, there's no real fund there.
No,
That, I don't know, but I will probably, it's a matter of just calling the finance department and find out where's the money, the
Yeah.
deposit.
Anyway, it's supposed to be $1 per round of golf.
Yes, that's what we charge. So it's on the, when we give a
So what, you're
Mhm.
playing 10,000 rounds a year right now?
Averaging about 15,
15.
close to 16 some years.
Wow.
You know.
15, so let's just say over the last 7 years, maybe it's 12,000?
Yeah.
So 12,000, that's,
84.
about 100,000.
that's enough money to
I
fix
like
the
your
whole
math.
green.
We can fix some bunkers.
Oh, it's 15 times.
I mean, all the bunkers.
Yeah.
15
yeah.
times it.
Okay.
So, okay, no, and we're just trying to figure out, and I guess we'll have to go through JJ to wrangle it out of wherever it's supposed to be
You
at.
think it's in parks, that money?
That's,
No, probably some
It's just
kind of
general
account,
fund.
you know, for probably, we can call.
It's probably being used to landscape the airport now.
they have golf course grass in the front.
That would be nice. Well, can I get some money for that? I can use some money to do some landscaping or parking lot improvements or all that.
Zero escaping.
Zero escaping. No, whatever you need, let me know.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
So back to what we were talking about, doing this, we're gonna do it again on hole 16. There are some areas in 16 that Tom's gonna be working once the winter hits, because that's when, it's a little downtime, the grass stops growing. So the boys go more into trimming trees and getting everything that, was a little bit neglected during the time when they were just trying to keep up with the Bermuda. So that's gonna be our next experiment. We're gonna go with the same idea, clean them out, and then that's where we're gonna get more of a labor cost. Because maybe now that we're with parks a little bit more, maybe we can get some labor just to
Well, I
help
think,
offset.
so, but the mechanics of the way this is gonna work and to continue to work, and I think this is what this committee is gonna have to realize, is that we're gonna, and I guess for me personally, was to make it self-sufficient, so that we can either push the city to get those monies towards parks and rec, and then have a separate account for the max, so that every profit, everything that we get there, we put it back into the golf course, so that we don't have to be begging them or asking for anything over there. Because that's what I
So
suspected
you're
it to
gonna
be.
talk to JJ about that, or?
Well, yeah, when he comes in right now, I wanna see if there's a mechanism in there that we can push it over to him, but and not even them, a special account, account number 199 for the max, and then everything that just goes in. It's easier to audit that way. The monies that belong to where they're gonna belong to stay in there. And then I think they should be doing that for every big project that they have. They have this big entertainment area.
The issue at the max has always been the art of separating the cash flow of the golf course from the clubhouse.
Yeah,
It's all
right.
mixed together,
Right.
right? So then, who was it, Foresight Golf took over the management golf course. The way they run their courses is they allocate part of the overhead of selling sandwiches and beer and all that stuff in the golf course. Those bodies that are in the clubhouse, they charge part of it to the golf course, because they're also, selling rounds of golf and doing other stuff, right? But they don't run a banquet hall like the Max does, So really, to figure out if there's anything left over, you gotta kind of look at the contribution or the burden of having weddings and quinceañeras and all that stuff out there. I have no idea
Yeah, and that's what I read in that contract, is so if they're taking care of overhead, cost, light, water, sewer, all that kind of stuff in there, and then you separate it. That's why I kind of wanted to, when this thing started, is to separate it and really
I
take
don't know
it.
if you want to do that or not.
Well, I mean, because the city, he has to call the city when an ice maker breaks down and the freezer breaks down, and they take care of that. And so that's good, because they're not doing honestly, they're not doing a very good job of it. They're kind of leaving it.
Not doing a very good job of maintenance.
Maintaining all that
Okay,
equipment.
so before we kind of get into inventing new accounting,
Mhm.
probably we ought to have a serious conversation with the city about maintenance,
Yeah.
period.
Yeah.
So it's really like almost everything else except the airport that the city maintains, you know, it's the squeaky wheel gets the oil.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, I think it's very hard, but maybe JJ can do it, to get one or two maintenance people who are gonna do nothing but look after that building. And I think the building's in pretty poor condition. It should be in much better condition.
Yeah, so, and that would be the question. If we
But
could get it all to
I
parks.
have no idea how the city manages that, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, we gave money to that building, but it wasn't well-built,
Mm.
and they had a lot of mechanical issues. Is the odor gone?
Yeah, it's gone for.
Finally?
Yeah.
Have we figured out why?
There was some cracks and there was a P-trap that was broken. So they've done, you know, that's gonna be your main issue.
It wasn't a P. Well, no, it's just that they were supposed to have a P trap, and it was just a slant.
So the
or
odor
the
really
odor was coming
disappeared
up.
finally.
Yes, for them, you know, we notice that when it gets to get hot, we already know, hey, go upstairs, flush all the restrooms.
Yeah.
Make sure that we.
Oh, that's what you, the upstairs bathroom.
Yeah, what it is that nobody goes up there in a week and it's 110, 120 degrees. Some of those P-traps will also dry
All
out.
those dry out.
So we gotta go up there and make sure we flush.
Winter time, you're gonna have the same thing, you put the heaters
Yeah.
on. So,
But I guess the point is
Yeah.
that if you want the clubhouse to be a great long-term asset, it has to have preventive maintenance, and it has to have focus. And there never seems to be anybody that can do that. I mean, I don't know how it works, but
so, I mean, right now, you have to be totally dependent on the city to when you file a service call or work order?
I mean, we have certain budgets, but also the budgets.
No, but the work orders, your system is you send the work order into.
Yeah, I'll
what
call
department?
Joe, Coach, or I'll call Mr. Gomez, or I'll call Ruth and let her know, hey, we need some help.
And then you all have to call the downtown, or you have your own people that do that?
Our own people from Parks.
So do we know already that your department handles the max absolutely?
Not absolutely, but it all depends what the work has to be done. Like I have Mr. Gallo de Guevara, he's on construction. So when we have the problem at the store with, we have the leakage and the
Roofing
situation,
issues.
I call Gallo and he sent 2 employees, they fixed it in 1 day.
Yeah, they
In
were-
1 day
but
they
that's
fixed
just,
it.
that's
the
just in the
cookies are-
last couple of years, right?
The cookies
Yeah.
are still manchados, right? Or did they change the cookies out, the
Did they
ceiling?
change
We're gonna get the cookies going. It's gonna be, that's it.
The last time we were there were some that were still
get it.
needed
Well, they
replacing.
just recently, I think 2 weeks ago, the
I can
roofer
do that
went
for you.
and
I
resealed
can go to
all
Lowe's,
the leaks. So with this rain that we got today,
We'll
we're
find
gonna
out.
see, okay, it's,
What, you have roof
100%.
leaks, you're saying?
yeah, cause there was, I guess it's some flat roofing that meets up with the one, the dropping. So there was some tar there that after 7 years, it was time to redo it. So we had a roofer go out there and refinish that and
So
everything.
when you say we, Parks did that?
But no, this was out of, the roofing was the max. We have a budget also, so we were able to go take that out of the roof. They came and did the painting downstairs and all
They
the.
fixed the AC, there was a big leakage in
Yeah.
the AC unit room that was ugly, that was going to the women's restroom. So I called Parks again, Mr. Gallo sent one of our guys to check the AC
Sure.
unit, and that was fixed
What it
also.
turned out to be, it was the drain pipe had come a little bit undone, so it was dripping.
Vibration.
So, but really, what we're saying is there's no one owner
No.
of that building.
No, there's no one.
And I think that's what we need to identify as part of our goals and what our mission statement has to be. Our mission statement has to be totally be an independent body
Independent.
that gets serviced by Parks and Recs, who does that, and just identify all the players so that you can have that access, especially that you're out there. And everything has to be in order of to prevent all these emergency type situations.
So I have maybe a little different view. I think maybe that Parks and Rec, they have all the resources to maintain this. That they should accept the responsibility for preventive maintenance and, cosmetic maintenance of the building. And then they should send an inspector, just like when I was a bank lender, we would, enter a construction loan, you'd send an engineer, somebody to look, and, once every 2 weeks or once a month or something. They should have somebody that does a walk around.
Superintendent.
And it keeps a schedule. We did maintenance on the roof and tal fecha, we did this, we did that, we did the other. And if there's issues, they ought to see those issues actually before we have the failure. I mean, I can tell you there's been a broken lens on an exterior lantern out there for 6 years. And it's just, it's a $2 piece of glass, but nobody owns that. And it just kind of goes on and on. I gave $2,000 worth of bougainvilleas and they all died because
In
nobody
Laredo,
owned,
Texas,
nobody owned them.
bougainvilleas.
And now Tom has done a really good job of starting to get all that stuff back because he feels pride and ownership in that. But I would say we ought to try to make a deal as a committee with Parks that they will assign somebody who likes the golf course and or who plays golf, who will do a walk around, with Dennis at least once a month. Make a list, a checklist, report back to committee, say, hey, all the stucco's coming off the east wall or whatever, whatever it is. And then maybe we have to, go to the city and say, this wall's failing, we've got to fix it, and y'all should do it. Because if you carve it out and make it the max, then Dennis is going to be in the building maintenance and construction business instead of managing the golf course. And
Yeah, no,
selling
that's
rounds.
that's exactly what I meant. I meant only the monies, the monies that they maintain, they have it there, and then they can choose to get it out of there.
The issues I had, and you said the cookies are gonna be changed out, these little things right here, they don't weigh anything. I mean, do you have to call the city in order to swap that thing out, or do you have the guy that sweeps your floor, he can do it?
That's the problem. We
See,
don't
that's
have a-
where I would use Parks to do that. I would
Right.
pick up the phone.
But then you gotta go through the whole thing of going through that?
I don't know. I would pick up the phone and call and say, we need somebody in the next week to come replace
Fix that
8
land,
tiles.
fix
Have a
that.
list.
We're a
and
client.
They get
We're-
everything.
Fix
in
the
the
Part
land.
of the
bill.
monthly check through, have a monthly schedule where somebody from Parks will be there, and maybe you can have a list of the things that need to be done and accomplished by the end of the
You
day.
can manage that punch list yourself and send it off and have it there. This is, when's your guy
What were we
coming?
gonna say?
On the 15th?
That's what you've been seeing me more at the max
Yeah.
lately, the guys who've been going a lot. I'm going almost every week, and that's what I'm doing. Right now, we have some outlets that we have to fix outside. So what I do, I take pictures of the problem, and I look who's,
Good.
Good. Like I call the guy who's in charge. They have I have a
Perfect.
toro for the blades that we're gonna take. It's just, I got the trailer, I got the driver already. Last week they were busy. So every week, you're gonna see me going more to
Perfect.
the max, because that's what I'm doing with Dennis.
Yes.
I'm checking what needs to be done, and you're gonna see later
I'd
on.
much rather have a woman do it than a man.
Oh,
We have our presentation I already got for the trellis, we got that, you're gonna see, we're gonna have
Yeah,
we're
excellent.
gonna talk about the clubhouse, how we're gonna get the screens.
Yes.
We've got that done. So,
Perfect.
at least every week, we're getting something done.
No,
Great.
that's.
It is working out. Between Dennis and me, we have communication, and as we're gonna have a presentation, like I said, later on these things, that we are working together, and we are working with Parks to get this resolved.
Okay, so just little things like for me and Jesse, we used to eat out there all the time, and they had these really pretty cushions on the chairs outside. No one ever took them in, ever. Rain, shine, whatever, they were there. Nobody ever cleaned them. They were just there. Bird poop on them, didn't make any difference. This is years of this. So no one really owned that. In other words, those little things, I think,
Details.
make a big difference, because eventually the city will have to buy new cushions. Why? If every time, you're gonna have bad weather, somebody just untied them and threw them inside for the night and put them back in the morning, it's what you do at your house,
It's part of the process, yeah.
It's just part of owning that whole look. How's that whole place wanna feel? That's basically it. I mean, it's a little thing, but.
Do you not think that this is something we need to perhaps delineate in the contract? Because I know we mentioned that a couple of meetings ago. to
Yeah,
kind of,
well, and
you know,
right now,
distribute the
I think
duties.
because, and I agree, but the thing is that the biggest thing is we have to find out who does, because we're new to this, who does what, who's responsible for what, and then the accountability process goes, because if we're adding too much to Parks and Recs, or we're adding too much to Dennis, we need to figure out those things.
There need to be
I think
lines
it's pretty
drawn.
easy
But I think
for-
like that is, I like that.
I mean, if she can do this, it's not that complicated, it's just somebody has to care, that's all. It's not that much money,
Yeah.
it's effort.
Yeah.
This guy makes a punch list and somebody does it,
Right.
It's not rocket
Say,
science.
another little thing, the door going to the men's bathroom for 6.5 years needs to be trimmed, because it hits the door jamb, but nobody does
Details.
it. And why? Because he's not a carpenter, right? So
Upstairs,
downstairs.
downstairs.
Yeah, and eventually what happens, it distorts the bisagras there, and then the door gets loose, and then they're gonna buy a new door,
Ruth, also add the back door, our back patio door. You know how you went to go help with the kayaking? That one, we've tried it. I think it needs to be replaced with the handle. There's no way to access it to tighten it. They've tried, they've looked at it. We even brought the mechanic from the cars, the maintenance shop, and he's like, no, I think that it has to be taken apart by somebody that knows how to put it back together. That goes to what Mr. Pellegrino was saying. Yeah, I could get somebody to go up there and then they take it down, they're like, I don't know how to put it back, or they can't cut it right and everything, and it just turns into a big
No,
mess.
Parks has to do this,
Yeah.
and then if you can't do something, you get somebody competent who can do it under one of your contracts or something like that.
Well, just to let you know, I have last year's contract here with me, and I was telling Dennis, I started reading it and go over it. And it does say that the city is in charge of the building, so that is our responsibility.
Even that you're talking about the landscape unlimited contract?
That's
Yeah.
correct, from last year. I don't have this year's in my hand yet.
No, I'm sure they didn't accept responsibility for the building.
So that's why I'm telling Dennis anything he know, and like I said, I'm going even to the events, he's having events, I'm there, he needs any help. I'm getting the city van, so from Fleet, he needs the van for any tournaments or weddings or quinceañera. Like I told him, we had discussed it, any money he could save, that's better in case we need it for improvements. And then everything else, if I could get through the city, we'll get through the city. If
Right.
he used to rent chairs and tables for his events.
You have-
I'm getting that through our LEA, the Sames Arena.
Perfect.
They have that, and
There you go.
every activity that we have for Parks and Recs, we get from them, so we start
Right.
using that also.
It's the same
So-
owner, that's great that you're doing that.
So we're working.
So
like
all of
I
it
said.
with organization and time, everything can
Exactly.
get done.
Yep.
Everything
That's
gets
the
done.
main issue,
Yep.
there's time. We just started this maybe 2 months ago, and it's been
Exactly.
working out
Good
great.
job.
And he
That's
has
great.
saved money already with the rental fees of the stuff, and so.
Super.
And, we're, like I said, we're trying to work together with money-wise to save that money for any funds that he needs for emergency, and whatever we could do or I could do to help him.
That's
He knows
great.
I'm there, like I said. Mr. Geisa have seen me, Mr. Joe, Mr. Bernal, all have seen me lately over there, even twice a week I've been going sometimes.
So one little suggestion I have, because I haven't been in the kitchen in 4 years, but they have that big exhaust fan in there. And my experience is that kitchen fires always start in exhaust fans, because they collect grease and then nobody cleans them. And then the motor sparks and a big fire starts. So once every 2 years, maybe?
Well, actually, Lorenzo does it almost every year, and then I think Chavaria was just there
But it ought to be on her list. In
Yeah.
other words, that, what I'm
That'd be
saying,
awesome.
it's
It's
good that you're
675.
doing it, but that's a
Ongoing thing.
big fire prevention item
Check
on the
to see,
checklist.
the biggest thing on those things, they have a drip
They
tub.
have to check them every year, right? The fire
They
department
should, well, the
does.
fire department should actually go out,
Every year.
Right.
right, just like it's a restaurant.
You have to
Exactly.
check your ansel system.
They
I
have
don't
to-
know, does the fire department ever come?
Yeah,
They have
yeah,
to.
they come and check the fire extinguishers the day.
Yeah, they have to
But that's
Sure,
not
they're
a
checking
deal, you
that.
know, to
Yes,
keep the
yes.
kitchen
Mhm.
basically grease-free.
Yes.
If it doesn't have it, just tell them to check, they're supposed to have a drip cup in there and a
Yes.
spout. If that thing exists, then it's supposed to all get, when it doesn't have those two things, that's when it gathers. That's
Yeah,
when it, that's
but
when.
it's like a keto in a fireplace in your house,
Yeah.
you know? You burn a fire every year for 10 years, you get creosote in there. And then the creosote can ignite.
Yeah.
So that's why people should, you know,
No, absolutely,
do their
absolutely.
chimneys. Anyway, that's the only thing about the kitchen I worry about.
No,
So
they really
then,
don't.
so going back to this, what would you need for us to get going on what you want to do here?
Well, in this winter project, our fiscal year has kicked in, but it would be nice to, bring in $5,000-6,000 worth of sand. Usually that's what we spend about a year, maybe 7, to do when we do toppings and.
Do they do,
But wait, you have $80,000 that you can spend, why not do them all una vez, yeah?
That would be the thing we talked about, and me and Tom talked about how maybe looking for, or eventually we'd be able to use some people from Parks and Rec, because it's very labor intense. So the guys would, we got about 7 guys, so, they couldn't pop them all out in one winter.
They have,
because
they
it
have the
just take-
machinery.
cannot.
They say they cannot. The Tom was like that, it takes a lot of work, it's 3 or 4 days, and they're filling back in.
So talk to JJ and.
Yeah.
They have all the, they
That's
have
the
all,
beautiful thing.
they have
Coach
all
is
the
very-
equipment.
He's very attentive, he's listens, so I'm glad that he's on board.
Yeah.
And Ruth has been great also lately, so, I think it's only moving forward. I think the city's really taking ownership.
But
And I think,
to me, how those bunkers look
oh yeah,
is critical to the whole image of the golf course and, the whole quality of the course. So, if it's $50,000, whatever it is,
Mhm.
and you can get the extra labor through Ruth and JJ,
Mhm.
I would do them this winter,
Yeah.
yeah.
that would be ideal, that's what we want. So
So-
that was what we were gonna kind of.
The idea then would be to go back to the natural and not do the.
Yeah, because because after that, it's probably a $2,000 a year, but now it becomes just natural maintenance that you have to do of a bunker. You still have to do it out of the Z line, go in there, rake it, make sure that nothing's in there. So we could go back to that natural process, and it would probably be a very.
And how many Z-line bunkers do you have now?
Right now, we have the 219 on the left side. So the idea is the green side, there's 9 front 9 bunkers, green side that would need to be done. And then in the back side, there's 13. These are just the green side bunkers. We have more, we have the big, that 100-yard, 200-yard one on the left on 11, which, yeah, but the green sides are the ones that are most important. To be honest, the ones on the fairway, people don't like them as fluffy because it's a lot harder to get out of. But that's just how people, trying to get better at golf, better scores. But our main issue right now, like you said, maybe get them all done this winter, that'd be fantastic.
Make them all as fluffy as
So
possible.
make them as fluffy as possible. Yeah.
Don't go into the fairway, don't go into the bunkers.
Hit the balls.
Yeah. So
That's
that's
good.
kind of what we would like to do
It's a
over
good
the
game
winter
plan.
if possible, and maybe with a help.
Was any thought given to just turning those into green bunkers and taking the sand out and just let the grass grow in there?
I think that would have something to do with Mr. Robert Trent Jones. It's like an
He
artist
might
that.
take his signature off the
Yeah.
course.
Just take it off?
Yeah, because it's
I
like an
mean,
artist.
I knew there
you
was
could
rules.
invite one of his architects to come
Mhm.
and buy him a plane ticket and
Mhm.
spend a day with you.
Yeah. Number 11 is the one that really nobody knows why it's there because it's
yeah,
very,
yeah.
and it's beautiful because it's a huge, but for a maintenance team, it's like, oh my God, it's 150
Because it's
yards.
all, yeah.
Will that be affected?
That long.
I know we were talking to you, the gentleman that represented you the last time, and they wanted to, that on 17.
17,
If
yeah,
you-
that
If
might
you put
be-
water there, Robert Trent Jones and those guys would be okay with that.
Well, we have to ask him,
Yeah.
but
I like the idea though.
I think they would say yes. They knew when they laid that hole out that it was gonna be a problem. And we just, I wanted to get the course built, so I said, well, we'll deal with it later.
No, good, good.
But, it would be beautiful to have another lake there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine those people sitting in their backyards and they get to see that.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
Right, well, but that would probably be no cost to the city, because Premier Properties, who bought that land,
Can take
would
that.
build the lake.
You know, good. That's a good idea when you brought it up.
I think the only issue there was, I think, the communication line that was, but that's just a matter of moving it over. So, 'cause I
Which
think
communication?
I guess the sprinkler connected to the pump house, I think that's what they mentioned, that Tom had already.
Yeah,
talked
he
to.
would lift it.
Yeah, they would just have to move it, and then they could just extend it.
Or they could just have a underground pipe.
Yeah, they said that.
Where
they
it's
could
really
run-
one body of water.
Exactly. So,
They could bury like a 2-foot pipe under there.
yeah, and even make like a little walkway in between the two lakes. And that's where if they needed to get in there, they could probably get in there neatly. So yeah, that's kind of what we got in store for the summer, for the winter, since the guys will be a little bit less burden on them because they don't have to mow the grass every day.
So did I understand that by not overwatering the greens, you're getting rid of the fungus of the mold?
That's what is happening. I don't know if you've been out there, but we didn't have it this year that much.
No, did a great job with the fungus. The problem that I saw this year is the gathering, the puddling of water and the mud that gathers.
On the
Because
greens?
on the
No.
side of the green, so it's creating, we were talking about this in one of our many conversations last week, we talked about a million things. But the guys that are cutting the greens, they're leaving tire tracks
Yeah.
and those mud deals, and it's creating ruts in that area. So I'm not sure if it's
That's
because
not
of the
good.
way they cut it, but I'm sure, I said, Tom is very good at that. I'm sure he saw that,
Yeah.
and he has an answer for that. But I think because of the season right now,
Yeah.
he's not gonna have to water as much, and that's gonna go away.
So that's kind of where he's battling, because some days it's 98 degrees, then we had some 70 degrees days. So when it's 98 degrees, he waters 20 minutes per sprinkler head.
I just don't know why it takes 24 hours for that area to dry out. There's chunks, there's on number, I can go in every number and every hole,
Yeah.
that there's that puddling, and it creates it's just a wet spot in
Yeah.
there, that's just, and you step on it, guys go over with a
Yes.
cart.
Yeah.
It
On
creates a-
11, close to on the tee box,
Yeah.
that was a big puddle area last time I was there. And then you would see the tire marks just,
Yeah, so
Go inside.
they've had some issues, and I guess they're working on those right now. Some of the heads were getting stuck, so they've already resolved.
so it was a
that, or they're
sprinkler
working-
head issue. It wasn't a
Well,
drain.
that was one of the issues. The other issue is that now it's less hot, even though it's still hot some days, but it's not evaporating as fast. So
Right.
he needs to adjust the sprinklers back to maybe even 11
Yeah.
minutes, 12 minutes. That way, and the bad thing is, unfortunately, the guys get out there at 5 in the morning and it's not light, and they're mowing, and they're mowing, all of a sudden, woof, they hit something.
Yeah.
So it's kind of tough on them also, but the idea is to lower the watering per minute per range, but not to the point where it's gonna affect it.
I wonder if those areas have clay or something that's
they have
causing
to.
that, right?
That's why.
I mean, I just don't see it, I've never seen them
Yeah.
evaporate.
Yeah, they're
Never seen them
always-
evaporate, they just, those spots stay like
There's
that.
yeah.
And it's on every hole, so, I'm sure Tom's looking at it,
You say it's on every hole?
almost on every hole. There's sections in there viewed from start to finish.
Yeah,
You
with the
see spots
drainage.
here, but it's mostly the ones that there's about 5 or 6 holes that have them right around the green.
Where they're cutting the greens?
Yeah,
The
and it's
front.
not it's not the golfers, it's the maintenance team, because they have to get on the green.
So they have, when
They
they
get
turn.
on at night and they don't notice it until they get through it, it's like, oh, it's,
Like you were saying then at 5 o'clock, I mean, but you can't see it.
yeah, it's tough on.
Well, it's
And
just-
then we.
They mow at night?
So, Rick, is
they
it a
mow-
drainage
As soon as they
issue?
get there, they start
Yes,
mowing
it's
because they
the,
want to
the
get.
water
that
coming off the
evaporation.
green.
It's-
Because they need to go, they need to go on the green, on the
That's
uphill.
hard for them to see.
Oh.
They go on the bottom here.
Trust me, they like to get started later,
But
but
what's
when they
causing
get
it
started
to
later, then the
stay
golfers start
muddy?
complaining, hey, I'm trying to
It's
play
just
golf.
not their back.
No,
It's
but
not-
the thing is, for
already,
them,
uh,
it's the,
soaked.
if
It's an
you
evaporation.
study that, it's like we were
It's not
saying, we
getting
went,
soaked
that's
in,
it, we.
so it's just
we
burning
talked
off.
for about
It's
2
already-
hours with
it's already
people there after
moist.
the
That's what they were talking
tournament.
about, clay.
What do you think?
Yeah,
No,
they
we
were
got that
Or it's just
feedback
already
from
just
everybody.
always wet.
But that was one of the issues, but I
And
think
so,
they're
so
going
it's
in
not
in the
grabbing the
morning
water, it's just kind of
to
running.
cut
Right.
from the downside instead of the upside.
Yeah.
Go
And
the other
so they have to just start cutting from the opposite end, because all the water's over here, so they're going through here.
Yeah, come on the
rather
high-
than
high side.
to the-
Behind,
So
yeah,
you'll
you're
talk
right.
to Tom about that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually gonna.
Only because it'll become a separate issue, it'll create that balding effect, that once it starts getting hotter again, because it's just constant. You can see that now that it's darker, there's more mud there than there is grass.
Yeah.
And once it dries out, you're gonna have a bald spot in there.
Yeah.
And it's gonna,
And most
create that
of
issue.
all the holes, I saw it.
So I mean, it's just one of those things that we
Yeah.
have to look at. Anyway,
Well, definitely next time we're out there, we'll talk to Tom.
So then, to follow up, you're gonna ask who for the capital improvement money to get the sand.
Well, that's Rick to ask.
I'll ask him, hey, I'll find out. I'll find out.
Yeah, I think
I'll find out.
that's-
I mean,
And he's already talked
and
to
Ruth,
Coach.
Ruth, you guys can, I had been talking to JJ about it already for a while. It's only the right thing to do,
Yeah.
because you don't wanna be asking them, right now, they're during budget times.
Mm-hmm.
And we really don't wanna be in a position to constantly be, if I, whatever little I know about what happened to the county's golf course,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it creates a huge fight as to whose money does it belong to. And it just, because they
Well,
got it.
this dollar per round, I think, according to the bond indenture, belongs to
Yeah,
the golf course.
yeah, and then you don't know what implications it had because you didn't follow the bonding rules. You know, so,
I wonder if they sweep that account at the end of the year and then throw everything into the general fund and
Well,
it goes
that's
away.
what Conrado and Alejandro said, is probably in the general fund. But as long as you can account for how many rounds and multiply it by
Yeah.
$1,
Get out
and you
of
can
that.
prove that it went back in to improve the golf course, you ought to be good.
yeah. So,
No matter what
as I
account they
said,
put it.
you pull an audit on it, on that account only, and you can get it done that way.
Okay. What's the portable evaporative coolers?
There's a couple of things that she's already brought over, and this just goes to what Rick was mentioning, some kind of cooling system, whatever, so.
For what?
For the outdoors, when it's 110 degrees outside.
Because people want to sit outside
Oh, okay.
in the
Oh, you
shade,
mean
because they smoke.
On the patio?
It's
In the
real
back?
big.
We have it there right now, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a big,
Oh,
I got it
you own
from
one?
Aquatics. I got it from Aquatics.
so the swimming
Oh,
pools
I
aren't
see.
using them right
Yeah,
now, so they brought it
exactly.
over to us, and we've experimented with it and put it out there and see how it works.
But it's a 100-mile-an-hour wind coming at you.
No.
No.
No, it's not that noisy.
It's actually very
No,
nice.
it's
but-
real quiet. It's real quiet,
it's
right?
real
Is it the one
Is it a
are you
fan?
hanging it up, or is it the one
Fan?
on
No,
the
it's
floor?
one that's on the
It's
floor.
it has a fan.
Yeah.
This-
Oh, yeah.
With
The
mixture.
dark, the black.
Yeah.
But you can't feel the mist because that's what evaporates.
Yeah.
It's called the
Yeah.
I
evaporator.
think I've
Like a
seen
water
it.
It's a water
So
cooler,
it's
those
like
black
cool
ones.
air that comes
Yeah,
out.
and it was just something
It's not-
because we had
And
brought
we
it
have
up
it
to
already?
Tommy, she
The
goes,
city
"Hey,
owns it
The city,
the
we have two
swimming pool has them,
aquatics.
they're not
Just
using
wanna-
them anymore.
So I
Would you like
just-
to have it?
Reassign them.
We'll give it a shot.
Dennis
you know?
was telling me it's too hot.
And then when we
He's
got
got
it,
the
it
weddings
got really nice
outside.
weather.
So he said, let me check
Yeah.
Pool Aquatics, so they have two. I said, well, you know what, just try with one.
Well, that's
Have worked,
because
so we need the
what we
second
were
one.
seeing, one
I'll
of
get from
the good
Aquatics.
things about
If you really
going through
need
the,
it for
playing these
summer,
tournaments
then
and
we
things
could
like that,
purchase it. I already
you
know
get
they
to
have
talk
it
to
in
really
Ranger,
the real
they have
customers
it.
out there.
And that way,
So,
just testing it out,
So
how it
all
works.
I think it'll come in handy.
all of you youngsters don't remember, but before there was
water
refrigerated air in cars. My mother's 1948 Chevrolet, on the right passenger window, there was a water cooler. It was a round deal. It
Put the
had,
manguera on it.
had water, no, it had water in it, and it had a fan. So on the front, like a propeller. So if you're driving 40 miles an hour, this fan would blow misty air into the car. That was
Wasn't
on the
worth
air
the damn if you were stopped though, right?
No, well, let me tell you, so I used to sit in the passenger seat, and then if she would turn left
the
real
water.
hard, the water would spill onto me. You know.
It's funny.
That created a whole different situation in there,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so,
So when they came out with refrigerated air for cars, I used to install air conditioners. In all the early car air conditioners, the only ducts were in the space between the trunk and the rear window.
Oh.
So the unit was in the trunk, and then they had these two plastic kind of needles that would come up, and it would blow the cold air
Wow.
forward. So there were no ducts anywhere else. It was just the whole unit was in the trunk.
Well, how times have changed. I was in Vegas the other day and I get there and there's nobody in the driver's seat. It's an autonomous car.
No way.
There's a lady in the passenger side. She doesn't even look at you. She just says, I'm just here for observance. Ignore me. We're like, okay. Because when you order the lift,
Wait, she doesn't have a steering wheel?
no. But she goes, there's
Hope she's got a
a
medical
huge,
bag.
there's a huge computer in the back of the trunk.
really,
And that's running everything. And because when you order the Lyft or the Uber, it asks you, do you mind an autonomous car? And I was like, well, let's try
I'll try
it.
it.
And the car pulls up and.
And no one's in
then
the
the
driver's
ladies in the session goes, I'm just here from,
serio?
en serio.
What
And it's a
car?
BMW M5.
what's the,
Beautiful car.
what did it cost you from there to the hotel?
No, I did it from within the hotel. I didn't do it, it didn't pick me up at the airport. It picked me up one of the hotels from, let's say, the MGM Park
Uh-huh.
to the Stardust, because we did the whole roller coasters, the
Yeah.
Stratosphere.
Yeah.
$7.24 and no tip. It doesn't even ask you for a
Yeah.
tip because there's no driver.
Yeah.
Wow.
They
Yeah.
have a
They,
huge problem.
they can't pay me to get on one of those.
It was $20 from the airport to the Caesars, and that's the problem that's gonna happen. I told the lady, you're gonna get eliminated
Mhm.
by
Oh,
these
yeah.
cars pretty soon.
Oh, yeah.
Because she.
It was an Uber?
No, it was an actual, the taxi.
Taxi.
I don't know if they're union or what.
Yeah.
But she took me all the way around.
They always tell you
They
that they have
said,
to.
give me the shortest route possible, and she went all the way around,
Yeah.
$28.
So I'll give you my,
Yeah, they do that.
so I'll give you
It's
real
a
quick my
Tesla.
Uber and Lyft story. So Jesse and I were with our son in New York at doctors for months last year. So I kept a record of all the Uber and Lyfts and taxis, because it's the only way you get around New York, you know. And I talked to all the drivers. So the yellow cab drivers in New York are much better than Uber drivers.
Really?
Much
Wow.
better. And they're cheaper. They know the city better, they're better vetted, had generally horrible experience with Lyft. One time, we called a Lyft car, and this lady driver got in, and my son likes to listen to classical music, so he's mentally ill, and so he got in the front seat, and he pushed the button on her radio for classical music. She stopped the car, and she said, started cussing at him, screaming at him, "Don't you ever touch my car." Hey, wait a minute, lady, I'm paying you for the ride. Get out.
Wow.
Wow.
Kicked us out of the car.
Perfect.
A cab driver would never do that.
No.
And I think, I mean, it's okay maybe in Vegas, but I think a lot of those Uber and Lyft drivers are dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
And they're all, you know, cranked up, oh, it's better than a cab.
No.
The cabs are supervised,
Yeah.
very supervised. Those guys are not supervised or vetted at all.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah, that was-
Generally bad experience with Uber.
Yeah.
Might be the-
Oh, this is-
Luckily, we know one of the only Uber drivers here in town, Bruno, and I know.
Well, Laredo's
He's calling directly.
Yeah,
You guys
you-
are okay.
I mean, you probably know everybody in Laredo. right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, New York is a different beast with the traffic and all that stuff. Oof.
You can actually call the guys ready to go.
How many Uber cars are in Laredo?
I think if I look right now, there's about six.
Six, right?
6, 7.
And they'll hang around the airport.
So one of them initially was Frank Rovnowski's son,
Yeah.
architect.
There's 3 right now.
Yeah, his
Around
son, his son was driving.
One's here by the airport.
Yeah.
I'll be done.
But, I mean, anyway, it's good. But, I mean, the whole idea here was that one of the good things about, you know, and it was probably before, but one of the things that, one of the favorite sports, I guess, after every tournament and every gathering that we get there, was one of the reasons that I'm so happy that we're doing this now, because a lot of people get to ask, I mean, and then just either bitch or ask about what's going on, you know, with a golf course. But you get to, it's like owning your own restaurant. People are gonna talk to you and they're gonna give you
Good or bad.
or advice or criticism or whatever it is. But over the last 4 or 5 months, it's been pretty proactive. A lot of good things are being said. They like the idea that they can, I guess, when they talk to me, because I told them from the get-go, this is gonna be a working committee. This is not anything where you could just just throw everything at them. And then we've been pretty consistent with that. So I think in getting ahead of the game, this protocol is a great idea. I know you were gonna also bring I know there's a quote in here for
Yeah,
the
shade.
The shade, because that lattice part that's in the back, the part that's not covered,
Oh, yeah.
Facing the river.
yeah, facing the river. I noticed there's two things that we need to do there that I think is, we were sitting there after the tournament this
Yeah,
past
it's
weekend, and the sun just bounces off of that. And that AC is at 62, which is dangerous because it's never turning off.
Yeah.
And it's
You're
gonna,
talking about the
the area that has the wood.
cedar posts?
Yeah.
This is
So-
the quote,
No, with
this is
the,
the material.
Oh.
for the windows,
Oh, for the window.
for the windows.
For
That's
for
for
the
the windows
windows.
upstairs.
And I
Inside.
don't wanna take the view out,
No,
my
it
idea,
won't.
we don't
It
wanna
won't.
take the view out from outside, But
It's gonna be nice.
No, it
But does
doesn't.
this go inside or out?
Inside.
Inside, it
This is
doesn't.
a
You can see the
magnetic-
outside
Is-
no,
perfect.
that goes outside of
It
the
goes
window.
outside. That goes
Because it has
outside.
to deflect the heat.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that you can see perfect the view
Yeah.
outside with that.
Oh.
It's 95%.
But
Yeah.
how does
It
this,
blocks the
how
sun.
does this adhere to the window?
He's
That
gonna
is your
send us,
share.
Right on
he
the
was- no,
frame.
he's gonna send us a video, which I'll bring in November, how it all works.
Yeah, they customize it to the size of the window and then they screw it through the frame. And
Oh,
it's there permanently.
So it's how the hell do you clean the window?
You can either
How
water
do they
it
clean it now?
Exactly. That was gonna be my other question. Exactly. They don't clean it now.
They don't clean it.
So I think those windows should be cleaned at least once a week, you know?
And then, well, I guess if it has latches to remove, they can put latches to remove.
I thought they magnetic that thing up,
No.
but it's aluminum.
No, they have
That's
the
aluminum, so it's not gonna work.
So,
With the lectures?
you can get those, Ruth, you can get those on shades.
That's why I was talking to him yesterday
Yeah.
about the shades, because in Unitrade, we have in the conference room like roller. I
Yeah.
was asking, so he's gonna say, if I want, he'll give me the quote for that also.
Yeah.
I definitely would do them on shades so that you can roll them up and
Yeah.
down.
At night,
That would be
at
interior.
night, if you want to,
That'd be
or the
interior.
latter part of
The only
but-
thing he was saying with that, Mr. Jacobs, is just on the side, the light comes in on the side through that.
Yeah,
Not much, though.
yeah.
You'll-
It covers
you'll-
it significant to where it's gonna keep it cool, I would imagine.
I
Well,
mean,
there's
you'll cover 90% of the glass. I did that, and I think you really ought to be able to move them up and down, or you're not gonna ever be able to clean the windows, and the people are gonna hit them. And
But the idea was, the second part of that was that in order for you not to even mess with the windows, because right now the sun is settling further down, so it's
Further
getting more of a
west.
direct hit,
West.
south.
right? And so, and as the seasons go, it'll go back and forth. The deal was that I wanted to see if we can put those cedar posts all the way around and then cover the top part of it. Because really, the sun's just hitting it over here. Maybe one part, latter part of
So I
the,
talked about the cedar posts, and again, that was, I think, part of our gift, but, you know, Bill Luff did a ranch house for us in Mexico, that he did this cedar post kind of arbor deal. And we planted bougainvilleas, and in 2 years, the entire thing
That's
was
what-
just a canopy of bougainvilleas. It was
Flagberg
beautiful.
asked that they died.
You
How did
couldn't-
they die?
No,
It
it
was
was
they
died
only-
here because they
they-
didn't take care of them, but.
That day that it hit
in-
6
In this
degrees.
ranch in the middle of nowhere where we had to haul water, it was beautiful. I mean, the thing was
Very
as long as
resilient.
this table, and it was just a canopy of bougainvilleas. He did the same thing if you go next to the restaurant across from St. Augustine Church. There's a little building that Hank Thames and I remodeled there that he now owns called El Pasillo.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's a pasillo there that Bill did out of the same bougainvilleas. So that's what we should do, because in the spring and the summer and the fall, before they freeze, the colors will just be magnificent.
Absolutely.
And they'll grow because they're protected from the north winds. That's a perfect place to grow. So instead of buying some material, we ought to just spend $1,000, put the bougainvilleas, get somebody from Parks and Rec or somewhere that knows how to, what do you call it, fertilize a bougainvillea. Don't overwater them.
Shit, you got Tom.
And they'll grow like a weed,
Yeah.
and in 2 years, everybody will want to take pictures there.
Yeah.
I mean, trust me, we had 3 different colors, it was just gorgeous. And everybody
That's
wanted
why
to eat
I'm
out
amazed
there.
that there would-
everything.
that-
That's
I
why
don't
we
think it was
did
a
the
freeze. I
cedar
think
That's
it
what
was-
I wanted on number 6. How- Just left of the green.
Talk
Big
about
I would like to have
this is the plants
all
that they
bougainvilleas.
recommend for
That
the
would be nice.
trellis.
Look at you, little
So
master's
this is the
action.
name.
Masters, yeah, that's-
Recommend
I think
3
that-
types,
That'd be nice.
so.
Confederate jasmine
Tell me.
would work also.
You know what, how
That
to,
gives off an
you know how to
incredible
design it,
scent
and
in
I'll
the spring.
I'll have it ordered.
He's Berman Rivera, he works with the city.
That's it.
Yeah, these will all work, and you can also do bougainvilleas in there.
Bougainvilleas, because of the color, the jasmines are the scent that it's gonna give in the spring.
Exactly.
It's gonna be amazing. And setting them up the appropriate way, I'm in agreement with you. That thing
I
would
like
look
bougainvillea.
beautiful if you did
The
that.
Chupa Rosas love these
Yeah.
things.
But if you-
But somebody, Dennis, we should get this done because
Confederate
the
dragon.
infrastructure's there to do it. They
Yeah.
take very little water. just somebody has to care, that's all.
Yeah,
To
I
say,
think now that-
Oye, tiene hormigas, okay, I'm gonna spray it, you know, but they just can't let them
Yeah.
die.
So what we'll do now, and this is a good thing, our new fiscal year kicked in, and finally, we've got a custodian
The thing is, it's-
line item. For a lot of times, I kept telling people, it's tough for the guy that takes your order and does everything at the pro shop to go clean the restroom and clean windows also.
Well, that's what I was
because-
asking earlier.
Yeah, so now we've got a line
Take
item,
those things.
and now with the help of
So
Rose, I think we're.
can Parks plant this, or,
I could talk to Berman, yeah, I could talk to Berman.
yeah?
So now you have somebody on staff that is a
Well,
janitor?
we're gonna hire one because it kicked in October 1st. We're gonna meet with some people, and we need somebody to just 20 hours, but they're just our guys too. They come in for 4 hours.
So see if you can find a girl or a woman
Hmm?
who likes plants.
Yeah, be on the interview. How do you feel about plants?
Bad, I feel bad.
You're hired. Fab. Well, you know,
Jack
to
of all
also, we
trades.
do thank Tom a lot for the roses, but actually Fab's the one that gets Tom in check. She's always.
Okay, let me ask you this, so but you have it only on the south wall, and there's nothing on this other wall. Is there a way we can extend it also, so it can wrap
On
around?
which
On
one?
that little-
On those cedar posts?
On the east wall or the west?
On the south wall, facing the river's right there.
Right.
The little one?
We have the trellis already there.
Upstairs.
Yeah.
Right.
No, downstairs. So the trellis is already there, but it's only on this side of
Yeah.
the facing west. There's a little opening right here, little piece of window that's
Mhm,
maybe
yeah.
I
about
mean
10 feet.
towards the kitchen?
Yes.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
little-
that's open. If we can wrap that thing around this way also, it'll be
We-
good because it's the sun, remember, the sun's going that way.
So I would
So,
just say those cedar poles aren't cheap.
Yeah.
yeah.
You don't have to use cedar poles.
With
If you
that
cover it
area?
with jasmine,
Yeah, it's
nobody will
gonna-
know
you
what's
won't notice.
behind
I
it.
agree.
You could use 4x4s, I guess,
Yeah.
but those were expensive.
Mhm.
I mean,
This is more of the view over here on this side, on the west, on the south side. This one over here, yeah, we can do it with anything because it'll not necessarily defeat the purpose, but you can
Just so
cover it
you
up so
know-
that the sun is going
Just so
this
you
way.
know, I planted bougainvilleas over there. And one of them grew in the corner, and the other two didn't, and then they all died because nobody paid
Do
attention.
you, now, Ruth, the other thing is that, I know they put fake flowers in there, but I thought there was a second part to this thing,
Mhm.
is that we need to beautify that little area in front where the staircase is,
Yeah.
going up to the second floor. That has so much potential in that area.
We shouldn't use fake flowers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look like those cemetery flowers, look like those cemetery flowers that you put in there, you know. But, I mean, I know that the intention is there, the intention is there, but that little area has so much potential, that staircase, that I can see.
So I'll bet you Parks and Recs has 100 macetas they're not using somewhere. And you could just get 5 and have somebody plant them and fertilize them and put color in there.
I
Be
can already
great.
see it, it looks, I mean.
What
it just-
Berman does, he gets, well, when I used to work at the rec center for the seniors, we have planters, we have 16 planters for them we have broccoli, cauliflower, spinach. What we did, he used to get the fertilizer, Mr. George Algett, his dad works in Austin, I think owns a company, and he used to bring it from over there, from Austin.
Get him before he
So-
leaves.
This is still his district, so.
Yeah, that's true.
Be good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey there, he knows what he's doing.
All right.
How you doing, sir? Sorry.
We spent your whole budget before you got here.
Just need you to sign here, here. Initial here, sign here.
I was putting on the greens over there.
We had no
reallocated
budget
some
money left, we took it all, you know.
And I need you to work the pro shop on Tuesday.
We've already voted you in.
There we go. Sorry, we're.
Like questions like that, JJ.
No, I think we leave it with that. Yeah, we're good.
So, so do you have an idea, or are you gonna have a presentation on that last one, on the?
Which is-
Promoting that,
Promoting that.
the activities?
Oh, yeah, well, we would pass these out. It's just a little something. The Max is just turned 8 years old. So we're just having a little, party. And we, got cute with it, Oktoberfest, Oktomax Fest, just something silly.
John Dromgold.
But we're gonna have something for the whole family. We're gonna have, obviously, in the morning, we're gonna have the high school tournament. But in the afternoon, we're gonna do a 9-hole, little scramble, and then get everything ready. But we're gonna have a costume contest, we're gonna have hiding contest. We're gonna have a pumpkin carving contest, just to get fresh eyes out on there. Some people that might never be golfers, but they always wanna hold a quinceañera party or something, so that they know that the Max is available to everybody. Number one question we ask, is this private? And we tell them, no, it's City of Laredo, you own it. you know?
Yeah.
And people really are surprised by that. They just feel golf course, it's private, it's beautiful, something unique, but it's the city of Laredo's. So just, you know, if y'all could spread the word. It starts around 5:30. The golf tournament will start at 4. It'll be like Sundowner's Rick, you know, you get there, it's 9 holes because it gets dark really quick now.
Who did you talk to get the donation from the outlet malls?
The Erica Contreras, she's giving us the gift cards to give away to the winners.
So you know, you should, you know Larry Friedman?
I've seen his name. Yeah.
He's a big buddy of the guy who's the developer and the principal owner.
Okay.
And he lives in Chicago, but he invested, you know, a couple $100 million in Laredo. He loves to play golf.
Okay.
So, you know, you should invite him to come down, bring his people and all that.
The Horizons group? Yeah, they've come down, they loved it. They fell in love with the golf course.
I played with him.
His name is Barry Scoyne.
Yeah, he was there.
Right, well, he's the main investor there.
Yeah, they came about 2.5, 3 years ago, and they fell in love with the golf course. They couldn't believe.
So you should reach out to him and invite him back.
Grand opening of the mall, they had a special.
Because October, November, December, it looks beautiful, it's already cold in Chicago.
Yeah.
He'll come.
Okay.
And then ask him for a bigger contribution.
I like your style again.
Once he's on the airplane.
Huh?
Once he's on the
Yeah,
airplane.
once he's already on the airplane.
Dennis,
Once he lands.
Can you email this to Rafa Benavides?
It's already been, and I'm just gonna change something for Isabel.
Yeah,
Isabel just wanted something changed, and as soon as I get out of here, I'll change it and send it to her.
And Eddie.
She wanted a picture of you right here by the microphone, because you're gonna sing karaoke.
Yeah, like I did last time. That way we can send it all to the city,
Yeah.
city employees.
Yeah, Isabel's,
I
I've been
talked to
talking.
Eddie also, and Eddie has the flyers also.
Eddie
Who's gonna-
Milan?
Yes, who's gonna put it on the.
New York Life will be out there, and they're gonna make IDs for kids, so that they can have them in their thing, so that's always good. There's a flyer for each one event, so if there's
What's
actually.
Laredo Ranch Heights?
They're that feed company, the
Laredo feed.
Laredo Feed.
That's, is that the
Gage, Mr. Gage.
Joe Gage?
He's
Yeah.
not doing this.
California, yeah.
Got the big seat.
Yeah. So it's just a little thing to celebrate the Max and let everybody know that, you know, we're out there. We're gonna have a little band, some music.
Cool.
Yeah, just a little fiesta. I think other than that,
I got a question.
sir.
Have you had any issues with over-serving people out there, like, you know, when they get a little bit too tomados and
No.
when they get home and?
Fab, you know, she's great. She knows them all. She's known all the golfers there for a long time, so she knows and they know and they listen to her. She's always like, all right, guys.
So you can cut them off?
Yes,
You
and
will
then,
cut
you
'em.
know, we will because we have to. That's the law.
right.
So, and landscape's also on us. We have alcohol awareness
Cool.
three or four times a year because that is an issue all over the world, you know, the U.S. So they're always on us like, hey, if you think they've had enough, even though you're gonna might, you know, get them upset a little bit, it's for their own good. Make sure you guys are always, you know, on top.
Huge liability there.
Mhm.
Well,
So-
I start to give them like chips.
Yeah, she did.
Whatever it takes to slow them down, like when I see them, because they'll be like, oh, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
And I go, hold on, and I'll get them peanuts, chips, whatever, and they're good then.
A little bit of water.
Another hour and they're good to go.
Yeah.
I haven't lost a golfer yet, and I'm.
Bite your tongue.
So,
And then Bernal's place is always available to see that.
JJ, just to recap,
Okay.
well, before you got here, we were talking about getting the money to put new sand in the sand traps. And Dennis went over the whole deal, what they want to do. And when the course was built, $1 per round of golf was set aside as a golf course capital improvement budget item. So I asked Conrado if he had any memory of what happened to that money, and he said he thought that either Horacio or Carlos used some of it to buy a truck for the then manager of the golf course. But the rest of it ought to be in some account somewhere, and Alejandro thinks it's probably in the general fund.
Okay.
And I remember, from memory, I think the bond issue required the city to set aside something for maintenance and capital improvements as part of the bond issue when they borrowed the money to build the MAX.
Okay.
So if you could kind of ferret around and find out.
Let me just, I did a little bit Mr. Chair, I did a little research. I'm not done with it yet. I sat down with, because I knew we were gonna, we had talked about this a little bit. I don't want to give you a whole, the whole story yet, because haven't finished the whole story, but let me tell you where I'm at right now. So, the budget director, Mr. Gilbert Sanchez, and I want to put it on paper for you all, but let me just kind of tell you what he told me, was that in past years, there was money put into the fund, but being that the course was losing money at the time, that some of that money was used to cover
The losses.
the losses. Yes, sir.
That's probably right.
Right. The losses. That's what most of. So I asked him, okay, is there money budgeted this year? And that's where I stopped. Right. I couldn't answer that question. You could answer that question because they were still looking on the process of. So I will definitely have that answer for you. The next question will be this one. Is there money budgeted this year?
I'd forgotten about it. I think you're right. I think they decided to use that to offset losses.
Yes, sir. That's what both.
I don't think there is any money there.
No, as of right now, there isn't.
Is
But
I mean, under those bond guidelines, are they allowed to remove it from capital improvements to offset
Well,
losses?
Even if they aren't, we don't want to rattle that tree.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I think that's right. A long time ago, I think Horacio decided that was going to be offset against losses.
Right,
I
right.
think.
that's what he told me. That's what he thinks as well. Mr. Sanchez was not the budget director at the time that Horacio was handling it, so he has to go back and check to see where it
Yeah.
happened. He's pretty much sure that's what happened.
Well, okay, so let's assume that that is what happened. We don't want to get into an argument with anybody there, but we need how much per sand trap?
Well, if we go with the green side, I think we can get away, and I'll get with Tom. He gets back to me on Friday from corporate. I would say about 25 to 30 grand, and we'd be able to get all the green side bunkers.
Okay, so on that conversation, he said, okay, man, what do you need? Hey, look, there's a lot of things we need. I know there's improvement from the clubhouse all the way down to the, but like anything else, and I'm related to baseball all the time, you work from the field, you work your way out, right? To improve the field, to work your way out. Sometimes in past years like Unitary, we put all this money into the stadium, and everybody forgot about the most important thing, which is the field, and that's where it starts there. So I told him, how much money do you think you'll need? And I'm talking with Dennis, but look, you find me about 25, 30,000 somewhere that's a little clavito, he said. I told him a little clavito somewhere in there so we can fix some major stuff. Not major, but at least to work with some of the sand traps there. I said, okay, let me work on that. Let me see if I can find it out. So hopefully we can get those 25, 30,000.
Yeah.
I'll leave it up to him to pull some numbers out. And as soon as, hopefully, even before next meeting, if we can get going on this, so we can start doing it at the end of the year to get this done.
Absolutely.
If he says yes, Jay, I think, since you just began to do this, I think it's important that, I know that it might not happen, but you can go 50, only because all the little piquito stuff that we need to get done in here and fix that. That way that if they give you 40, we can at least start getting some of the clubhouse issues in order.
Correct.
For efficiency reasons, we're not doing, the end result is they're beautification projects, but to improve the efficiency of the clubhouse.
Right.
Right now, like I'm telling you, that the light bill must be eating them alive. I know for a fact that it's eating them alive.
Right.
Because that heat is just bouncing off of those windows, and the cost that it's gonna take to do this kind of stuff and put those bougainvilleas up there is another issue. So, I don't think if the bougainvilleas take off and do that, you might not even need that to
Right.
cover those windows.
Right.
That was, I think, the whole idea.
So these 7,000 on top of if I can swing 40,000, Dennis,
Yeah.
you think you'll be okay with that as far as with the
It's a start
sand
for
and
this
Go
year.
a long way.
for this
Go
year?
a long way.
A long way, and I think it's just gonna help us in the end, because at the end of the day, the golf course is what sells everything else.
Right.
People,
But if you get that,
Yeah.
the committee maybe ought to set the priorities on
Correct.
how it's
Yeah.
spent.
yes, I would like that.
But I think-
And that way I can give if we can come up with okay, you give me 40,000, we give a breakdown where it's
So
going.
number one is sand traps. Number 2 is sand traps.
And we're talking about 30,000 on sand traps, más o menos.
Give or take.
Okay.
If you can send me some of your workers, I will be like.
Because, but correct me if I'm wrong, the light bill gets taken care of by the city? The light bill belongs to the city?
Maybe
Jay?
when they dig this new lake.
So, I mean, that's an issue that, you know, we can, that we're hitting it right on the head, I
So,
can
but
guarantee you.
then on
So
the
is that
building
all in the budget
itself,
for the, no? So the golf course doesn't absorb that cost?
It's part of like, no, it doesn't absorb that cost.
So,
And now that I'm in this position, like you're telling me about, I know this, I kind of walked into the budget in August, but we need to start somehow putting a budget from the city for just max, a max.
Special
a max
items.
special items. 40, 50,000 a year at least for something that.
Telling you, we can make it very efficient. I mean, the efficiency part to, the overhead cost of it is where we need to hit it right off the
Now,
bat.
it would go a long ways, gentlemen, if I put it, it's a recommendation from the committee.
Exactly.
Right.
That-
So the second, so the number 1 and 2 are bunkers and sand traps, and number 3 would be green plant material that Ruth was showing us, that we could start growing on the trellis over the patio out towards the river to create shade there. Because the heat load on those windows is just running the air conditioning more than it needs to run. So it'd be a green and very sensible way to create that shade rather than spending money on curtains and all kinds of other stuff. So, you know, we were talking about bougainvilleas and different jasmine, but maybe your horticulture people already have some of that material. I don't know.
Right, no, horticulture guys did you get this from Berman?
Yes.
Okay, so Berman, our horticulture, you know, he knows, of course, we will definitely, as far as the manpower and all that stuff, we'll take care of that. You know, that won't absorb the cost on that.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Maybe some of your guys can also help them with some of the grunt work on those sand traps.
Okay,
Because they don't have enough labor at the course to redo them all in a short period of time.
And equipment, yeah. They have all the equipment there for that.
This would be just a one-time deal. They ought to last eight or so years.
Yeah.
right. If you would, Dennis, just kind of come up with a time, how long would it take to do all that work once we get the material in? You know, you tell me, what, which takes 2-3 days or whatever, with so much manpower, so I can
Yeah.
program with my guys.
Yeah, definitely. Once we get all that situated, you know, I'll sit down with Tom.
Tom could work directly
Yeah.
with your guys.
Yeah.
Main thing,
Tom.
just get the money first, and
Yeah.
let's get that money first.
Always
I'm
works.
gonna shoot for those 40,000, all right?
Do you need a motion from the committee to say we're requesting this from the city as
Yes,
far
yes,
as?
we can make a push motion, and
So
then I
moved.
will come up with a letter on behalf of the committee, and Mr. Chairman, you might want to sign that letter, so
Somebody
that.
make a motion?
I make a motion that we
Second.
pursue that with the city as far as the budget's concerned.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Fab, you get to water real plants soon.
So the capital improvement fund, its original intent was for these improvements.
Yes, originally, from what I understand,
Is
yes.
this going to at any point reset, or what's the current status of
Right,
the?
right, that's the, Jam, that's where the question, after they told me what I went, okay, so do we have money allotted?
Where are we now?
With the
Yeah.
capital improvement, said, you know what? Let me look into that, and that's where it stopped right there, and then I left out of town on Friday, so
Okay.
that's where it stayed right there.
But
I will have an answer for you, of course, before that. what's up-
If that was the original intent.
But tactically, I like what he's doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
it's a little bit.
It's simpler. Because otherwise, you gotta go to all kinds of committees, you know.
To go through the, yeah.
No, I mean, if later on, if we can, the next year or the following year, we can assign it, then we can go ahead and organize it that way. But for right now, these little deals, it's not anything that you're asking for special, this is a special case, you need it.
Right.
I mean, for the life, you know.
I mean, look, the replacement value of the golf course is much more than $15 million. And it's prudent for the city of Laredo to maintain the bunkers so the course remains a signature golf course
Correct.
of Robert Trent Jones. That's just a good investment. I mean, that's all it is.
Right.
And the plant material we're asking for is also gonna be there forever, you know?
Right. Did he give you, does Berman give you a cost, Ruthie, or?
No, he just gave the suggestion of what plants we could put over there at the trailers.
Okay, can you check with him to see, maybe
Have they rated
we
your
have
golf
it,
course?
if we have it in the
Max, is
greenery?
it rated
Okay.
with the other municipal golf courses? I know Gary said at one time we were number one.
Yeah, and that's,
And where are we now?
well, they haven't come out lately because it's basically you buy them. So they come out, like it was the ladies from Connecticut, you pay
Do
them
we
and
still
they.
use them?
We no longer use them.
They were great.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, there were these two ladies from Connecticut who organized all the publicity and marketing for the golf course.
They cut her off, right? Then they stopped, they
But
stopped.
they were really good.
How much
and-
was it?
And they were not expensive.
I don't know,
She reached out to me on an email
Yeah.
not too long ago. They want to do the promotion again and all that, so.
Well,
haven't been-
they got results. I mean, they definitely, they had the golf magazines, all this publicity that this course got, all the ratings, Houston, Dallas, you know, the middle of the country, everywhere. They're very well respected. And it might be a good idea to revisit. They were not expensive. Doing a second round of promotion of the golf course, especially in light of your marketing to snowbirds and people like that.
How much was it?
This is the time.
Were you here, Dennis? with
I
him?
wasn't part of that. That was under when Horacio, and I remember hearing numbers like 50K or something like that.
No, it wasn't that much. Well, look, when we opened the course.
I know they stopped because of expenses. I know it was, they
When we
stopped.
opened the course, it was kind of a
Probably priorities
blitz.
were different.
But I could find if you don't find their names, I could probably.
No, we
I
have
have it.
Yeah.
She emailed me about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Can you forward me the email?
Sure will. And because if it is some kind of cost, maybe we can get CVB money.
Well, I think that's who cut the
Let me
tie.
tell you, they are money good, those women. They know what they're doing, they're very well respected, and they put the course on the map. So
important.
it was rated the
So
number
important.
one public play golf course in Texas for 3 or 4 consecutive years. Number one, over Dallas, Houston, everywhere because of them. I mean, it was a good course, right? She had good material to work with, but she got it rated.
Well, that's what's gonna bring you the out-of-towners. And when it's too damn cold to be over, Laredo's perfect.
Yeah.
This is the time.
Let's
Yeah,
think of
so
all
I'll
the
reach out
other
to, I'll forward you the email.
Yeah, so
Sir.
Yeah.
we're taking advantage of our partnership with landscapes because
Well, they're good too.
the north side, they're not gonna be able to golf. So what we did in the summer, we sent some of our golfers through Instagram and all that to courses like in Denver and Nebraska because it was 120 here.
Sure.
But now they're in the winter, they're gonna start sending people down here. And, you know, hopefully, just like it did with the Winter Texans, you get 5 or 6 people visit, then you release them out there, and then they start telling all their friends.
Yeah.
I think that's where, well, I mean, if we can put stuff for next month's agenda, that would be to get those people from Convention and Visitors Bureau back over here, and then the hotel, I spoke to them, the hotel motel people, and to try and coordinate those type of
We really
outings.
should do that, maybe for the November meeting,
Yes.
invite some of those people.
Well,
That's a good idea.
CVB and I will be going to McAllen November 5th. Fab's going with me. She's great with them. And it's a convention, and we have a booth, and I got a drone now. So we're gonna go do video of the whole course and everything. So it works better than me sitting there and giving them a flyer.
Yeah.
Look at the course.
Yeah.
There's a video, and they fall in love. We've done pictures already,
Yeah.
and they love it. They're like, "Is that real?" Like,
Well, yeah, but when they say you're the number one municipal course
Yeah.
in the nation, that gets people's attention.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Big time.
And we better be prepared for it that's why it's important to get those monies in there so that we can prove that.
So CVB's giving me $2,500 so that I go and visit the place. Not for that, that's separate. But so I can go with the help of Ruth getting us the van again. We'll go pick up 10 and I'll find some RV parks that haven't visited us. Go pick them up, bring them, spend the night at La Posada, play a round of golf, play 2 rounds of golf at the max. One when they get here, and then spend the night and then go round of golf, eat at the max. That way they also experience the food, and then release them back to their RV parks. And that's the way it happened the first time. Then I start getting calls. Hey, there's 10 of us that want to go. Come on down. And then they get to the point where, what if it's 30 of us? Well, we'll get you a bus. It exposes us.
Yeah.
Really, it's a good deal. And you know, you've seen the buses get there.
Yeah.
50 people that are just ready to spend money and have a good time.
No, I mean, that's all terrific stuff. The more I think about it though, it's probably time in the life cycle of this course to get some professionals like these 2 women to then put Laredo back on the golf
Yeah.
map. You know, I mean, we've had all kinds of bad publicity with most Americans north of Cotulla
Yeah.
think that the drug war is in Laredo. When they say Nuevo Laredo, they think it's Laredo. for sure, you know.
Oh, yeah.
'cause I go everywhere, they say, wow, you live in a really dangerous place, it's really safer than where you live. But they don't know that.
Yeah.
So I think it would be a good idea to see if we could get some,
Maybe Dennis, we get on a conference call with her and
Yeah.
give some, ask her
We'll,
prices and all that.
we'll get with CVB, because it'll come out of their budget. So
Yes.
that would be the best part
Yeah.
for us. But yeah, we could get in a call with that. I know that they've been moving towards social influencers.
well, but, so we gotta have a goal, you know, when if you're gonna talk to them, say, look, we just wanna kind of reestablish the visibility of the
Oh, yeah.
course with more people, maybe in certainly in other cities. We don't, I mean, I wouldn't pay them to publicize it here.
Yeah, no.
But
Yeah.
hear
so
from them, you know.
they'll send us writers, and it could be for Golf Weekly, whoever they have association ties with.
Good relationships.
The writers get here, they play the round of golf, they eat, and then they
Okay,
go
but
back.
you don't want those people till you fix the sand
Yeah.
traps.
Oh, yeah.
How soon you wanna do, how?
For sand?
Is there a time frame for the sand
Well,
traps?
it'd be nice to have well, it's freezing in Chicago, right? I mean, this winter would be,
Yeah.
so I would think, it's October, you know, we
Yeah.
wanna start
Sorry, you're already late.
Yeah.
late.
So what the idea would be that, you know, Tom, now that the Bermuda will stop growing probably mid-November as it gets cooler, he'll have the staff, but now we can get some, you know, people from parks, then we can start tomorrow. Because obviously, we'll give them 2 of our guys that have already done it to help them with the process, but the other guys can continue to maintain the golf course. And then, you know, I know that the boys can do, you know, an average size bunker in about 3 days, you know. Now there's the one like on 11 that, you know, it's gonna take forever, but, so multiply that times 22. There's 22 of them. Add a couple of days for weather and all that. So, I mean, you could probably get it knocked out in 3 months, you know, but with extra guys, they're helping Tom.
So this 30,000 or 25, 30,000
Whoa,
is
we
just,
said
just the sand
Yeah, yeah,
itself?
yeah.
It's puro
No.
materials.
I think Tom already had put in some labor costs to it.
You gotta talk to Tom and see how he's
Yeah.
broken it down.
Yeah, and he'll be back. He's in corporate. They have their
Does that
superintendent.
include having one of those, is this gonna be a big old, you get it shipped from San Antonio?
Correct.
And then you load up a big old mountain of sand there that you can pick from?
Correct.
as you go along?
We have
One of those bottom loaders or bottom, what do you call
Well, they
it?
come in one of those bottom loaders, they leave it there, and then we have a space for it
They
there.
have bins.
Yeah, we got bins,
Oh,
and then
okay,
from
good.
there, we've got a little dumpster, like a little dump truck, a little dumper, side dumper.
Yeah.
So it just turns over, so they would get to the course. The trucks won't drive on the course.
No.
It'll be that one, dump it. Once they've already cleared it out, they'll load up the dumper first.
Okay.
And then,
Labor intensive.
very labor intensive.
Yeah, and it's only because you have to protect that whole
But you
area.
won't close the golf course, would you?
No. It
Well,
was
they
one at
gotta
a
take the
time.
old sand out.
Yeah, they'll take out all the old sand and put it in the dumper, and then they go take it, and, you know, maybe we can give it to those builders, I don't know if they need it or whatever.
Yeah, they're looking for.
And then obviously clean it out and then put the new sand, take it out there, fill it all up, get it all, you know. It's about a 3-day process for one bunk.
You ought to talk to Premier Properties about sponsoring some of your stuff.
Yeah, I know what, so Premier Property, they're the gentlemen that were here?
Yeah, Casey and
Okay.
Mike.
Yeah, I'm trying to get them to, because we have those new TV screens, so they could have a sketch of a house that they've done in the past, and then this is what the houses are, you know, just, you know, people are very, you know, they would like to see stuff. So,
So you could talk to Manuel Gonzalez and Jay Troutman. They're gonna build their houses.
okay. But, yeah, I mean, if we have the labor for it, you know, and like I said, Tom can sacrifice one of his guys to just make sure that they're doing it the way they're supposed to, or Tom could actually swing by, check it, okay, this is the way you do it, guys. It'll be a slow process in the beginning, because they're learning, and then all of a sudden, boom, they'll knock them out. So,
Yeah, I can get some guys and help you out with that. Now we can speed up the process as well. I think now now that I heard from the committee, let me just get this letter out going so I can get that money allocated. And
Okay?
you all pretty sure you ordered out of San Antonio that double wash sand, I would imagine, no?
Yes.
That comes out of Osborne. Or?
yeah, Osborne Materials,
Okay.
yeah.
Any other items?
I was wondering, I know this has got to be way down the line of priorities, but on number 9, fairway there on number 9, you know, the river's right there. can't see it. And if you were
Yeah.
just
Good
knock
point.
it down a little
Really
bit.
good, really good point.
That's
It's-
true.
It's a beautiful hole.
Oh, I know.
It's a gorgeous hole and
So-
it's
You
can't
so
see.
much prettier.
So,
Doc, environmental, Mr. John Porter, has the knowledge on how to do that. Our guys, and to my experience, they tried to follow the Magnable and they messed it up because some environmental issue.
That's-
whatever.
yeah, that's-
Don't call them.
Just
That's
really-
crazy.
Call 'em up.
This is-
They're gonna tell you not to knock
this is
down
a really
Cenizo
important
either.
thing.
No, I agree.
you should get guys
My son told me,
from
my son
Parks
told me
and
the same
Rec,
thing.
Call 'em up
cut
to
the
the-
carrizo there, just
Then,
That's what I told
cut
Ian.
it.
You know, play. And he goes, "Nombre de Rio Grande."
Cause that guy's
Environmental,
just
they're gonna
gonna
Oh,
raise
yeah,
up.
it's not gonna go anywhere.
Huh?
16 is another one.
Yeah.
Just for a little
Anything.
window there,
Yeah.
you have more river.
Oh, before on 16 T-box, you could stand and see the clubhouse really not. The trees have gotten so big, they're almost blocked.
That's
But
it.
you know, but you
At
do
least
need,
trim them.
you need somebody who knows how to prune trees and stuff to go with you guys and look at the view corridors, because that really made the course. And without even disturbing a lot of that carrizo, you can manicure that stuff in there where you can still see the river. That would be
Yeah,
nice.
there's a company here in Laredo that knows how to do that stuff. He does some, I'll remind me to reach out to him, go visit with him. And go give us a quote to give us also knows how much it would be. The Carrizo issue, I agree, my son Diane told me the same thing. There's a way to do it, you can be doing, because it was done, Border Patrol requested at Father Magnable. So they knocked it down, now you can see the river, you're at Father Magnable.
Yeah.
But it takes a certain way because I wasn't in my directory, but what I heard was our guys went and sacaron and all of a sudden cayeron árboles and special birds from that came to South Texas and they had nowhere to live. And I know it was a big mess. But
Well, the birds are a big thing there though.
That's why you gotta
Yeah,
be.
but the birds
No, you
aren't,
got nada.
the birds aren't attracted by the carrizo. The birds are there in the trees.
Yeah, salt
So
scenery
the
is what they
carrizo
want.
is invasive. It was not indigenous to here at all.
Neither was the
So
salt
if you can
scenery.
solve the, I had some carrizo taken out recently by a landscape guy, and he used a perfectly legal chemical. They cut it, and then they sprayed it with something, and I was confident it was gonna come back. It's been like 3 months and nothing, not a shoot of green.
That's great.
We're gonna contact John Porter, I'll spoil the Carrizo. Okay.
But it's not much work. It's just on 8, 9, and 15.
16.
15,
And
16.
16. 15 instead of 15.
It's all right there in that area.
You don't have any
Yeah, 50, yeah.
two-headed frogs growing or anything over it, do you? Just in case.
No, nothing.
Because of the chemicals.
Wait, and this just for what it's worth, I just got in from out of town last night. And so we went to go look for a condo in the San Antonio area. And went to go see a condo, it was right behind Oak Hills
Country club.
Country Club. And the guy tells me there, he didn't know who I was. I mean, he remember the realtor there says, hey, this country club right here, man, it's country club's one of the best in Laredo, in San Antonio. You pay $2,500 to play here a month. And I said, you mind if I drive? You mind if I take me in there? Nah, just go in there. Yeah,
Is it
man,
bad shape?
there's no, yes.
The Max is better,
Oh, yeah.
oh, yeah.
much better.
Chair, no, not even close.
Really?
No. And you pay 20 people pay $2,500 here a month to play in this.
So you should take some Max cards and say, here, sign up for a
And I
membership
did.
at the Max.
And then I told him. Let me tell you. By the way, I'm the acting director for Parks. He was a golfer. The guy that was the realtor. I'm the acting director for Parks. We oversee the Max. Never heard of the Max? Really? So I got on the picture. Say, you're kidding me. This is on Laredo. This is on Laredo. Said, you know what? You go down there. You take 3 guys down there, and I will personally take you. We're gonna play golf, and you're gonna see what you're burning your money here with $2,500 a month. It was in bad shape, man. But it's sadly
Because
people
it's
pay
the
for that
whole,
thing.
it's the whole mystique of Oak Hills.
But that used to be one of the most prestigious.
Yeah, the seniors
golf
Open
courses.
used to
They
play there.
Play the Texas Open.
Now and then they moved to Texas Open to the Marriott or
Yeah.
the Daytona Marriott.
Yeah, they used to.
But now they have the senior Open. Mr. Chair, they have the senior Open still there. I said, there's no way you play this course.
Did you play the golf course?
No, I wouldn't pay $25 to play in that golf course. Not even, sir. I mean,
You need to go play the golf course.
no, I haven't. But
I'm telling
It's nice.
you, it's a beautiful
Oak
golf
Hills,
course.
really?
Yeah, yeah, it's very nice.
It's just in bad shape right
It's
now.
gorgeous.
But it's in bad shape, and it was.
Well, they had to redo a bunch of the greens, but the greens are now, they fixed them up now. and they changed a lot of stuff. They sold a lot of property, and they changed their driving range to the middle of the golf course. It's kind of weird. But as far as the maintenance of the golf course and all that kind of stuff, top shelf.
See?
When did you?
And it's kind of hidden. It's kind of like 4 months.
Yeah, but
I think,
the
you know,
greens were
but to your
under
point,
construction for a
the
long
max
time.
is still relatively unknown in San Antonio.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Exactly.
I have an architect friend in San Antonio, he's 78 years old. He's a fanatic golfer, really good golfer. And I said, have you ever played the Max? He's a member of San Antonio Country Club, he plays golf everywhere. What's the Max? So I said, well, you go to Laredo? Oh, I used to go, you know, Joanne Bruni and Bobby, her husband, are friends of mine, I haven't been in a long time. So there's this beautiful Robert Trent Jones. Really?
Yes, sir.
You didn't know?
Yep. Yep. No,
That does.
and I guess now, Mr. Chair, that I'm sitting in this position and overseeing that, those are better words to me. I didn't know about words, and that's what, I take it personal now. You know, and I think we need to get it out there, and it's, man, so you compare that, and again, I didn't play it, but I just would have saw out there, so that course that you drive, you will drive every weekend and go play down every word you drive, believe me. So I'm gonna take you up, you take me up on it.
We've got-
You don't like it, I'll pay your trip and I'll pay everything you want, of course.
So that's
Greens
why- that's
fees
why
over
you ought to
there.
talk to these ladies and see
Yeah.
if they're not too expensive.
You know
they
what,
can put us-
just before I forget, on part of the website that you have, one of the things that I don't think we include, and Earl mentioned earlier, you might want to put the annual list of golf tournaments that are in.
Yeah.
I ran into a couple of years ago and last year again, gentlemen that come down to Laredo without calling for a tee
Yeah.
time. And then all of a sudden, there's a tournament
There's a
on
tournament,
and they get a
yeah.
bad taste in their mouth because
What's the date of the next meeting?
November 14th.
November 14th,
Yeah.
okay.
Well,
Okay.
I'll have that information, hopefully, if I find something out about this money and we get it before, we'll send out an email, I don't think we have to meet again. If you already gave me the directive to get this money and get it moving forward, you know,
Dice que está por el otro.
you gave me so that we can start getting the sand out, so we can get the sand traps taken care of without, hopefully by next time we meet, we can find some kind of, we will find some progress on that.
Frontera is the one by, exactly there by Blanco Road.
Sí. Pero no,
I mean, it's.
Thank you all very much, and we'll see you on November 14th.
Sounds good. So we got one more before the end of the year?
Yeah, I think
We're
the
not
one in
having
December
some-
was rescheduled just because of the holidays. Yeah.
So it'll be here, the next meeting?
Yes, sir.
You have to-
Third?
You have to close it?
Mr. Chair, we gotta close the
I
meeting.
think he did. Yeah.
Motion. Does he have to make a motion?
Or does he?
Not to make motion.
I think he did, but nobody heard.
Nobody heard.
Motion to adjourn.
Mr. Jacob, you have to make a motion to adjourn.
To adjourn, to move.
All those in
All those in
favor?
All in favor?
There you go.